Let's work on fixing the section where the character plants his hands on the crate. What we can do about now is turn off our character set, since we just want to focus on our individual control curves and their individual keys rather than all of our keys as a whole. And once we've done that, we'll go ahead and focus on this part where the character's hands land on the crate. If we hit play, notice how the hands plant a bit too slow. We want to speed up that process at which they do plant. So what we'll do is select our arm IK controls and our wrist controls. Let's get them all selected, all four. We could also open up our perspective and graph view, hit F in our F curve, okay, and get a better view of our perspective by bringing down this partition. And what we'll do here is basically speed up this time where the hands plant on frame 30. So let's shift select this key on frame 30 and let's move it down so it now lies on about frame 24. So now that's sped up where the hands plant. We hit play. Great. And what we can do here is with this pose on frame 20, let's actually take it and move it down so that this key now lies on about frame 19 to speed up that. Great, so here's what we get when we hit play. Alright, awesome. So now the hands are planting faster like we want them to. But now what we need to do is fix up the upper body so that after the hands plant, it moves in a bit faster. That's what's going to happen. Once the hands plant, the body's going to pick up speed as it's coming in to the push, coming in for the push. So what we'll do is select the center of gravity control and go into our translate Z. We'll get hit F to frame the curve, get a better view in here. And here's where we introduce a new tool called the insert key tool. And what we're going to do is basically use it to preserve our F curve and still add a key. Whereas if we were to just key this translate Z, watch. Notice how we get flat tangency here, then we'd have to select the key, select the side, and just adjust it till we get a better flow. Where we won't even have to worry about that with the insert key tool. Let me go ahead and undo those steps back. What we can do now is first select the F curve, okay, and then we'll go to the insert key tool located right here, second selection, and we'll middle mouse button click right there on frame 24. And notice, again, that preserves our F curve and still allows us to have a key there. Great. So once we've done that, now we want to work on having the character move in a bit faster. And we'll have him do that on frame 30. So on frame 30, let's go ahead and translate him up a bit more forward. Then we'll take this key and fix the tangency so we get a better flow. Now watch what that does. If we go ahead and hide our curves, focus on our perspective, and hit play, notice. Great. Now that part of the animation is that much better. The character speeds up once he has his hands planted. And again, we have really improved this section from doing so, from adding that extra pose in there. Great. So with that done, we can go ahead and work on the follow through of the arm, okay, and also the arc. So let's focus in on our perspective, and we're going to render off a play blast right now, okay, to figure out what we need to fix next. So let's render off one from at about this angle. Here it is. Okay, so the next principle we want to focus on is arc. Right now, let me go ahead and stop this playback. If we were to check out the arms, if we scrub back and forth with our left mouse button, right now here's what we're getting. If we draw, the arms are going from point A and in a linear or diagonal fashion to point B where they plant on the crate. And that shouldn't happen. We don't want any linear motion in organic characters. We humans move in arcs, therefore our characters should too if we are to create that realism factor in our animation. So we want more of this type of arc as the character is planting his hands on the crate. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that. And what we're also going to do is get this nice follow through out of the wrist. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close that out and check it out. We'll bring back the visibility of our control curves, select the right arm, IK, and start with it. Let's also go into our perspective graph view again and focus now on the translate Y. And once we do, okay, and we get to about right here on frame 12, what we can do here is basically have the arm move up here, So let's do just that, translate the arm up. Okay, then we'll get a better view of our perspective. And then since we have this key on frame 10 that's going to have the arm start rising up really fast, we could just take this key on frame 10 and let's delete it. So now what we get, as the character is moving in, and if we hit play, and even hide our curve so we can just focus on the character's body, notice we get this nice follow through as the arm is coming up and then goes down and plants. So now we're getting this type of arc. And the follow through is in the wrist, because notice how the wrist is moving down, and then as the character's arm is moving down, the wrist is moving up and then plants. Great. So that's looking better. Okay, and I think what we could even do before we actually move on to fixing up the left arm is have the arm translate forward a bit more. So let's go to the translate Z now of this arm, and on frame 12 again we'll go there and just translate the arm forward a bit more. Take this key on frame 10, delete it, and fix the flow here. Okay, so now the character's arms will translate forward a bit more to fix the position of the arm there. Great, and once we've done that, we'll check out the elbow to see if we can adjust it, and it sure needs to be fixed. So let's select it, and also on frame 12 we can just bring down the elbow some here as the arm's coming up. Okay, and when we've done that, we could go ahead and, since we just fixed the translate Y, we could just go to the translate Y and delete that key. Alright, so that's looking better now as the character plants his hands onto the crate. So once we have that, let's go ahead and work on the left arm now, doing similar fixes. Okay, so we'll focus on the translate Y as it's coming up, and on, we could offset it about one frame or so. So on frame 11 we could just have the arm come up, not as much because we want this natural offset in our animation, so we won't have it come up as much. We'll take this key on frame 10 and delete it, and just take this key on frame 11. Let's get a better view in here and just rise it up just a little bit more so it's higher than this key on frame 19, so it'll come up and then start coming down. Then we could take this key on frame 19 and fix the tangency to get a better flow in there. Great. And once we've done that, we could go to the translate Z, and on frame 11 just move it forward some more. Okay, about there. We'll get a better view. Take this key on frame 10, delete it, and fix the flow on frame 11. Awesome. So with this done, we'll hide our curves and check out another play blast to review the results for this lesson. So we'll get a view where our character's in shot and we can see our fixes. How about from this angle here? Here it is. Great, so now our arms are looking much better where the character plants his hands. And we're just about finished with this lesson. Let's do one more fix. Notice it about right here, just as the character is planting his hands, what we can do is have the fingers of both hands move in a bit closer into the crate, okay, and then have the character plant his hands. So they're actually, so that there's really no anticipation to him planting his hands, okay. So we'll close out our play blast, bring back the visibility of our control curves, and with this right hand, let's go to our perspective and graph view, go to the rotate Y, and let's just take this key on frame 19 and move it down so that the fingers are closer into the crate. So here's what we get. We're getting a better plant now. And we do have them intersecting, but we'll fix that up a bit later. Okay, and now we could go to the left hand and do a similar fix. Frame 19, go to the rotate Y, take this key and this time move it up so it's closer into the crate, and there we go. So now that is much better. Okay, and if we were to render off a play blast, we can do that now. We can check that out, so let's do that from this angle here. Here it is. Great, now that looks like a better hand press. Well, that finishes up this lesson, And we're still missing a main ingredient in our animation, and that ingredient is follow through, another principle of animation. So in the next lesson, we'll work on adding some.